2006 Pontiac GTO 6MT, and that is the last time I will refer to this as a Pontiac. This sleek mid-2000s Arrow is a Holden and always will be. You want to drive an Australian car in the United States? You can drive this one. Click the link in the description, whynotYouGear.com. Buy a mug or a digital download, and you could win this 500 horsepower cammed Holden. Click the link in the description, whynotYouGear.com. Just like its successor, the Chevy SS, this is an Australian transplant brought to the United States by way of a misguided belief that just because Yanks and Aussies both speak English, we speak the same language. I understand the pitch. We, Americans and Australians, both like V8s. We both like exhausts that sound like this. And we like the option to move irresponsibly swiftly. This should have been something that slid in like a rebound boyfriend with a fake Perfecto jacket and a dubious story that he knows Joey Ramone. But the Holden failed here, because we have a better Holden here. And this hung on to that streamlined, melted bar of soap styling from 1999 far too long. When Ford unveiled the S197 and Dodge dropped the Challenger, the disposable income public found even more discretionary money. And that was the mid-2000s, when classic American muscle was peaking in the collective car market. While Ford and Mopar were smashing, General Motors was left holding its dick, which was too small anyway. No business participating in vacuum pumping, pulling all that lymphatic fluid into their foreskin. Now their tiny dick just looks like a grocery store bakery mistake they found on the discount cart. And it still is small, all bent like it's trying to watch the plane land from the middle row. What is that? A Grand Am? Is that a Grand Prix? No, this is a 180-mile-an-hour enthusiast vehicle with a well-spaced 6-speed and an LS2 6-liter. Okay, stock. They made 398, pretty much 400 horsepower. Oh, I see you're walking away to go look at a base Corvette. But this is faster! Come sit in it! It doesn't feel like an American car at all! It's supportive on both sides with lumbar. Feels like a cockpit in here. Better than a Corvette! I'll give you a hand job! I know you hear me! Two types of people bought these new. Number one, enthusiasts like us who want to drive a Holden stateside. And two, confundled dads who waddle about in shirts that say, "Made in America," in bold, distressed typeface. And they leave their car idling at a car show while they voice affirmations to each other. Unrestricted, LS engines are loud enough to drown out your 5-year-old who just learned what April Fools means. They're now announcing falsities and screaming April Fools as forceful as their soprano vocal cords can push the words out. You have permission to go around. Go around. Unrestricted climb. 2006 Pontiac GTO. For a man powered by Steakums and oppositional defiant disorder. 6-liter LS2 V8. Straight pipe with a higher lift and duration camshaft and accompanying tune, resulting in 500 horsepower. An entire 100 horsepower over factory. That's how you break the 500, horsepower mark without putting a turbo on an LS. Big cam. Now, this Holden aimed to be more fuel efficient through the use of a 1-to-4 shift light. Of course, this was made to beat gas guzzler taxes. It's the first thing people take out, and this one, of course, has it taken out as well. But this 1-to-4 shift light only comes on when the engine coolant is higher than 169 degrees Fahrenheit and at 15 to 19 miles per hour, and when you're at 21% throttle or less. Don't get it twisted. This is a good car. This is a great Holden, but it's a bad GTO. The 2006 GTO, is to the classic GTO what vaping is to smoking. People convince themselves it's better, but is it really? This is not the GTO of the 60s and 70s, the one that arguably mainstreamed the muscle car. This is a play date inspired by former General Motors chairman Bob Lutz, who read Car and Driver's review of the Holden Commodore SS in the year 2000. The year 2000 just seems so futuristic. You had a trapper keeper full of new metal CDs while you drove to Bill Lickman's party. Bill Lickman was the king of the school, but Bill Lickman never realized the only people put up with him is because his parents had a pool. So anyway, Bob Lutz was all, we should make something like the Commodore SS for America. I'm doing all the accents. But General Motors International divisions were all, we don't wanna. So it took longer for an agreement to be reached so that the 2001 Monaro design was outdated by 2003. And it also cost more because the Australian dollar was thriving like a divorced dad on placebo dick pills. The intended $25,000 price grew to more to $34,000, but General Motors' expectations never adjusted to factor in the change. The company expected to sell 18,000 units, which shows that not only did they not understand that the GTO would fail, they didn't get why. This was so far away from the appearance and function of the original GTO that the name became the elephant in the room, waiting to be addressed. But instead, it just sort of sat there without comment. The automotive equivalent of making a cake farts video and then just leaving it on the floor as guests start arriving for your engagement party. I've seen it argued that General Motors sabotaged this Holden to protect the Corvette, but that sounds like a post hoc justification, like any conspiracy theory that gives the government way too much credit. Reviews at the time were kind to the performance, but often cited how unworthy of the GTO name it really was, despite that this is almost a 200-mile-an-hour car. It makes one wonder if reception would have been kinder without the high expectations connected with the name, but then you'd still have to get over some of the roadblocks that GM's own dealerships were putting up, as some of those places were charging huge markups and refusing test drives altogether. It was a good car, but it was shortchanged by expectations and a gatekeeping sales approach that fostered an air of mistrust rather than mystique. The first year sold just under 14,000 units, totaling some 13,569, and sales would never reach the original projections. Pontiac's general manager announced in February 2006 that imports of the GTO would end that September due to their struggle to meet new airbag safety standards for 2007 that would have led to expensive changes to the model that its sales numbers couldn't justify. It was just another in a long line of mistakes by the corporate brain trust. The Americanized Holden just didn't portray the same sort of effortless cool that the original GTO did. The sense of a car as confident in its own skin as the person driving it. Old men spent decades mythologizing that car to anybody who'd listen. You'd go to a flea market and you'd get your ear talked off by a vendor selling vanity license plates of Calvin urinating on things.
Oh, the gearing was so low. I ain't had to do nothing. I just ride first all the way past Market Street. That was a one-way street, so you only had to look in one direction at the crosswalks.
In an article for Road and Track, Bob Lutz listed the GTO as one car in his career he wished could have gotten a do-over, admitting that despite having superb handling, it was a styling letdown. Yeah, no duh. So now where does the GTO exist? Curiosity? A odd thing in the United States that people just want to swap Holden badges on? I kind of get that. That then makes it unique because the seats are fantastic, the driving position is great, the transmission's fantastic, and who doesn't like an LS? Enter to win this GTO and get the Corvette experience without gluttonous conformity and New Balance sneakers. And with this camshaft and tune and headers and exhaust, you have all the power of a Z06 without a 28-year-old wife whose life goal is to be wabbajacked into a Dr. Seuss baby factory.